Greetings. I'm Steve Cook, Superintendent of Bedlam Pines Schools, here with your March board meeting update and recap. It's 8:30. We just finished up. We started right on time at 5:30. I will give you a recap now. Very first event of the night was calling the meeting to order, and then we moved directly into district recognitions. And we were excited to celebrate this month's champion for students, Michael Chavarine, music and choir instructor at Lapine High, Lapine Middle. And he was actually nominated by one of our students, Kaylee Adams. She actually participated in the celebration and read the award for him tonight. It was a great meeting, great opportunity, great chance to celebrate Michael and all of his years of service to Lapine High. Then we had the student advisory report. Daley Arnold from Summit High School and Colin McCracken from Bend High School gave us the report. They had several things. The first one, they're deep in the process of working on recruitment for new members. That's going to take place this month as we look to restaff our Student Voice Council as our seniors look to move on after graduation, and we work on that. The second thing that they talked about was making sure that there's good communication between district administration and our student population regarding decisions that are made. For example, the snow days, the makeup days, making sure that our student groups have that information so that they can understand the processes and why that happened. And then the last thing, they spent a lot of time talking about how they're working to polish the forecasting models for high school students that are forecasting for next year's classes. Focusing on that work and making sure that the curricular guides are accurate and give good description. The students of the Student Voice Council told us that the better that process goes, the more likely it is that students will get into classes that they value, which means they're going to have better attendance and better participation in those classes. It's a great conversation today. Then we had 3 public comments, one from TJ Harrison, who gave a book to the board for consideration. Jen Sawyer, one of our campus monitors, did a really nice job of advocating for additional grief resources when we have events in our schools that can often be challenging, like student and staff deaths. Really powerful testimony to that. And then Robin Vora asked the board to consider making consideration for allowing our school grounds to be available outside of school hours. We moved to the consent agenda for action. The consent agenda passed with no conversation. Then we moved into our consent for information, which we had two policies on for communication. IKF, the honors diploma, we've been talking about that for over a year. That policy is now out and available, and this is a big celebration which allows students that are in career tech ed programs to still compete for the honors diploma without needing to step out and lose the opportunity for those last courses their senior year in their career tech ed pathways. And so that's a celebration. The other one was policy KGB, which is known as policy public conduct on district property. And that one we've talked about for a couple of months as well. That is the policy that at one point maybe you heard it referred to as the e-bike policy. That policy is now in place, and we're going to start working with our schools to make sure that they know that it is no longer we're no longer going to allow e-bikes to be ridden to our elementary or middle schools by students, as it has been illegal for students under the age of 16 to ride e-bikes legally. And so that policy is now in place. Then we went into our reports. Our first, and the highlight report of the night most certainly was the report on our choice programs. And we had several groups here to do that report. We started off the night with Lakeisha Clark, principal at BTA, talking about the options at BTA and what possibilities exist for students that are interested in going to Bend Tech Academy. Then we moved into our dual immersion programs. That presentation was by Kinsey Martin, Maria Vides, and Colina Watt Garcia, talking about how the dual immersion program is successful in 4 of our schools, 2 elementary schools, middle school, and a high school, with Jewel, Bear Creek, and High Desert Middle School, and Caldera High School now for all of those students. If you recall, last year we just graduated our first graduating class out of that, about 50 students graduating from that cohort who went all the way through for their 13 years of school in Ben Lapine Schools. And we finished off with Bend High. We had Paul Hutter, Chris Reese, and Lisa Cohen and Christian Kitt presenting on the IB program and a new twist that we hope to look to invest in, which would be the career-related program, which you might hear called CP. IB is alive and well and going highly successfully at Bend High, over 200 students involved in that right now, but look for great things to come as we talk and investigate about it, making some recommendations and changes over time with the CP program that's going to allow students additionally access to their career tech ed pathways while participating in an IB type program. So exciting stuff. Then I did a presentation, the only other presentation of the night to our board regarding our strategic priorities as a kickoff to our budget process that takes about 4 months, three to 4 months. We will sew that up in June to get our budget established for our 24-25 year. We had one action item tonight. It was presented to our board by Sharon Smith, which was a property tax exemption request from COVO, which is the Center for Veterans Organization. They're seeking property tax exemption on 8 lots, and there was no discussion on that. Board passed that 7-0, approving that exemption for COVO. And then the board engaged in a discussion as part of their work as a board tonight, and that discussion was centered around how can they be the most effective board partnering with a district staff and delivering on the expectations of the community. A robust conversation from our board really did a nice job of talking about how we could do a better job of that. My superintendent's report was very quick tonight. I talked about some updates on the work of the task force and talked about our hiring processes for administrative positions. We now have 4 elementary school principals that have been hired. 3 of them interim that have moved into our permanent positions, and then one of them, Beth Martin, who has come from Costa Rica, and she is now hired as our North Star principal. And a couple of more of those announcements come later in the year. And then we adjourned the meeting at 8:30 with our last bit of conversation from our board members. Amy had a strong plea for the impact of TAG and the importance of TAG programming across the district. And Melissa did some shout out on the work of Scott Mabin and Levy Communications and Lakeisha Clark for her work at BTA. And just a lot of great successful conversations tonight in our board meeting. Long but good board meeting tonight. We'll be glad to see you here in about a month as we have no workshop this month, and we'll come back and we'll give you the report in April. Thanks.